Hello everyone. Welcome to Exneco's Ecotech Talk, Sustainable Technology and Innovation Series with Mr. Ketan Padnekar. Exneco stands for Exploration, Networking and Collaborations. Our mission is to explore sustainable business practices that maintain profitability while fostering strategic network and collaborations for the benefit of organization and the planet. Mr. Ketan Padnekar brings over 2 decades of experience in energy, sustainability and trade, a senior trade specialist for energy at Scottish Development International. He leads efforts to export sustainable solutions to build strategic partnerships. Mr. Ketan Padnekar play a key role in promoting Scotland's sustainable and energy efficient solutions to international market. Also with role in LNG projects, Mumbai Port Trust, RENA India, and Reliance Industries, Ketan has driven multi-million-dollar agreements and championed sustainability initiatives. His expertise continued to inspire impactful transitions to low-carbon future. With this note, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ketan for Exneco's Ecotech Talk and myself, Raku, host for the day. Welcome you again, sir. Thanks for joining.
So thank you very much, Ravi, for inviting me to this tech talk. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So with that note, we'll start with the first question. Could you please provide us an overview of your responsibilities as a senior trade specialist in energy at Scottish Development International?
Yeah. So Scottish Development International is the international arm of Scottish Government's Economic Development Agency. So we support Scotland-based companies to trade overseas. We try to attract inward investments into Scotland. So I'm a trade specialist for energy transition for SDI, Scottish Development International. I'm based in Mumbai. So I support Scotland-based companies to export their services and products to India. And I also help them building partnerships and collaborations between Scotland and India, especially in the low carbon energy sector.
Okay, thank you for that info. So coming to the energy, basically there are a lot of technologies are coming. The technologies keep changing. Okay, so what do you feel like the most promising technology currently being developed to enhance the energy efficiency across industries, and how can that be scaled basically?
Actually, there's a lot of research and development is going on for improving energy efficiency across industries. Some of the promising areas are like high efficiency motors and drives. This week itself, I went to one conference called Eurovent. They were talking about electronically commutated fans, which can reduce up to 50% of power consumption in air handling units. Then there are innovations in manufacturing processes such as 3D printing, which can significantly reduce material as well as energy consumption.
Yeah.
Then integration with renewable energy like solar, wind. Solar heating is also coming up in a big way that can lower the consumption of fossil fuels. Then there is a lot of innovation happening in development of new insulation materials with superior insulating properties that can lower the energy losses in the buildings as well as industrial facilities, leading to significant energy savings.
Okay.
Then smart grids are there which use digital technology to monitor and manage energy flow. That also improves efficiency and reliability. Artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms, they are helping to optimize energy use by predicting the demand and adjusting the operations according to that projected demand. So there is a constant improvement across the industries to capture and reuse waste heat from industrial processes. Thus, overall, energy consumption is reduced using this waste heat. And when you talk about in terms of scaling these technologies for broader adoption, there are several strategies which can be adopted. Government can provide subsidies, or they can provide grants or tax incentives to encourage that adoption of energy efficient technologies. They can also mandate minimum energy efficiency standards. Like in the UK, the regulation states that after 2030, landlords cannot rent their properties if the property does not have a minimum energy performance certificate of rating of C.
Yeah.
So there's also a lot of there's a need to raise awareness and educate industry stakeholders about the benefits and implementation of energy efficient technologies. A lot of collaboration is required between the governments, private sectors, research institutions to develop new technologies and its faster adoption. And again, one more important thing is nothing moves without finance. So innovative financial models such as green bonds, energy performance contracts, these all things will really catalyze and scale energy efficiency measures across industries and ensure their faster adoption.
Thanks for giving that holistic picture of different energy technologies. So because we have a technologies now, but how efficient that is, and what are the measures that we are taking? What are the technologies that are coming to improve the efficiency of existing devices, existing products, or existing methods? So that plays a major role going forward. Okay, so and coming to when we are talking about energy, battery technology plays a major role. Okay. So what innovations are emerging in battery technologies? And we know that there are a lot of technologies are emerging. And in terms of efficiency, capacity, and sustainability. So what do you look like battery technology going in which direction?
So there's a lot of innovations happening in battery technologies, to improve efficiency, capacity, and to make it more circular economy compliant. That is recycling and reuse of batteries. This continuous improvement in NMC, LFP, NCA, which are more popular batteries. A lot of innovation is being made in the manufacturing side of things as well. And the cost of batteries has seen a decline in recent times. But in terms of new developments, there are a few technologies which are emerging. Solid state batteries is a very promising area. These batteries can store more energy in a smaller space compared to lithium ion battery. They are also expected to be less prone to fire and explosion. They'll have longer lifespan, and the technology is expected to be commercially viable by 2030, 2040. Then there are exciting developments in the graphene-based batteries as well. These are expected to charge much faster. They have higher capacities. There are people working on lithium sulfur batteries, and they are expected to have higher energy density, and they're considered to be more sustainable as sulfur is more abundant in nature. Then there are sodium ion batteries, which are also expected to get traction in the near future. So in terms of limitations, each technology has its advantages and limitations. Like solid state batteries are difficult to manufacture as of now at current stage of technology, and they also have interface issues between solid electrolyte and electrodes. Now graphene based batteries are more expensive. Again, scaling up is a challenge. Lithium sulfur batteries degrade faster. They have stability issues. And as again, there is a new innovation happening as the battery source materials are a bit rare. So there's a lot of research and development happening in recycle and reuse initiatives as well. So these are towards designing batteries that are easier to break up for recycling purposes. There is research going on in novel recovery techniques to recover the materials, and there are also novel initiatives to reuse the used batteries for alternative purposes. So currently, the efficiency of recycling process is not at a very high level; it's low. So advanced technologies and policy initiatives are really required to promote circular economy for these batteries.
Yeah, you just covered all things actually. So thanks for that technical information. So as you rightly said, like material plays an important role, and also the manufacturing methods. So how easily it can be recycled, or how easily it can be replaced. For example, if consider entire battery pack module. So if the entire battery pack module cannot be recycled, instead what can't we bring as a small part of it and can be replaced, which is not working. So that's the thing which is comes under sustainability, rightly pointed out,
Correct.
sir. Thank you very much for that. And you told about the collaborations earlier. Okay, so like business, so how can the business and government collaborate to implement sustainable energy solutions that reduce the carbon emission, that maintain economic growth. So, coming to India, so there are a lot of initiatives going on. So, you have a good overview of other countries what they are doing it. So, can you just elaborate on that, sir?
So this is really a very good question. Actually, if you see sustainable development goals, the goal number 8 is decent work and economic growth for all. So it is absolutely important, for us to ensure economic growth, especially for a country like India, to bring people out of poverty and to bring standard of living of our people at least closer to the developed nations. But the economic growth always leads to higher energy consumption.
Mm.
So the crux is to ensure the growth is sustainable, right? So currently our electricity generation is almost around 80% through fossil fuels, which are responsible for GHG emissions. So we must rapidly increase our renewable content of our electricity. Basically, thankfully, solar, wind coupled with the BESS currently can compete with the new coal-based power projects. Now, Indian government has set challenging targets for renewable energy capacity additions, and they are following up with tenders. New
Mm.
avenues for renewable energy, such as offshore wind, are also being considered. Government must continue to push and incentivize, and in some cases mandate also energy efficiency to reduce energy consumption while increasing the production. So in terms of collaboration, a lot of collaboration is happening across the world, especially in the EU, especially in the technology transfer and research areas. So if we see our in the UK, there are lots of projects which are being done through collaborations and partnerships.
Mhm.
So which model needs to be followed here in India, uh, especially. Now our businesses actually are aware about these transition risks, posed by climate change. I mean, such as carbon border adjustment mechanism. So they're going to face all these problems in a future. So it is more imperative for them to collaborate with external stakeholders, all the stakeholders, including the government. There should be public private partnerships. Already there's a lot of collaboration. I mean, if we see the renewable energy business in India is led by large privately held companies, and there are public companies as well. So in terms of collaboration, the government, the businesses, the academia,
Mm.
all of them should come together to formulate clear cut policies, to create a conducive atmosphere, and increased collaboration with outside governments, which is actually happening. But it should be catalyzed more, to bring new technologies here in India. And also in the policy areas where we have to see how these technologies were successful abroad, like in the UK. So we have something called as a contract for differences for renewable energy projects, for offshore wind. So if such kind of models could be developed here in India, whether we can collaborate with the UK or other countries, to use the best practices. So this is what we could do, to reduce the emissions while maintaining the economic growth.
Yeah, rightly said, sir. So it's not only that we have a so the technology cannot be knows all the time. So what you're telling is the right
Correct.
collaborations with industry, R&D centers, so can give a more technological uh, weightage to the existing methods already have. So that will be more useful to reduce the carbon footprint going
So
forward.
our job actually is to do for these collaborations. So I'm very passionate about it,
Yeah, yeah.
and happy to collaborate anytime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. So, coming back to again energy. So now we have energy like technologies to produce energy. It could be wind, solar, whatever. So, but there's one more challenge is storage. Okay. So, what are the key challenges and opportunities for developing a robust energy storage ecosystem in India, and how that can be like support the country's transition again for the renewable energy resources?
Yeah, correct. As you're all aware, the intermittency of solar and wind are, started creating issues in stabilizing the grid,
Mm,
and the flexibility offered by energy storage really helps stabilize the grid and is absolutely essential to support the country's transition to renewable energy sources. As of September 2024, BESS capacity of 211 megawatt hour is already operational.
mhm,
178 megawatt hours was commissioned this year alone.
mhm,
Till date, around 72 gigawatt hours of ESS capacity has been tendered. Uh,
mhm,
Out of this, 16 gigawatt hours is for BESS specific, 67 is pumped hydro, and
mhm,
rest is tech agnostic. So 2024 has been a landmark year for battery storage, as the prices which were hindering its rapid growth have started falling down. And some of the challenges for the battery system adoption are their high upfront costs.
mhm,
Thankfully, they are falling recently. And
mhm,
then regulatory and policy systems were hindering the growth of this sector. They are started evolving now, and they are facilitating the growth. The supply chain and manufacturing is a major challenge, because most of the supply chain for battery systems comes from China. But this is an opportunity for Indian manufacturers, to step up and scale their battery businesses. Government should continue to incentivize the local new age battery manufacturers with incentives such as PLI schemes. Then there are technology challenges, especially for long duration storage and issues related to battery life, energy density, safety. So sustained research and development to be done towards solving those issues. Now, again, safety is a key issue to avoid bad publicity, especially to this rapidly emerging sector. I mean, a bad publicity can really, what you slow down its growth.
yeah,
So incentives like PLI and maybe some protection measures, but rational custom duties can support local manufacturing sector in the battery systems. Then GST reduction can also facilitate its adoption. Stable policy regulatory environment will help.
mhm,
Now, there are guidelines for procurement and utilization for BESS as a part of GT and D assets along with ancillary services. They are
mhm,
helpful to provide standardization and uniformity in the process. Policies like energy storage purchase obligations, if rationalized, could really catalyze this sector. Now, the government has already approved VGF for 3,760 crores to support 4 gigawatt of standalone BESS.
yeah,
Innovative finance models, growth of markets through sustained tenders, continuous tenders which are coming up,
mhm,
development of local supply chain, and proactive policy measures will certainly help build a very robust energy storage ecosystem in India.
yeah. Thanks for that wonderful information. So again, I'm coming back to the material. So yes, the storage is the one challenge, and the material is the second challenge. So right now, the toxic material has been used for battery battery manufacturing. So so what is I mean, what do you come across in innovative material and design contributions, which is give more efficiency for the battery? So because you'll be having a overall picture about what's going on in the other countries as well, in especially in the Europe. So what can be India can bring back on the material side?
No, as of now, see, I mean, there is a lot of research which is going on across the world on the material side, which I already mentioned earlier. So innovations in battery materials, solid state batteries, graphene, they are actually enhancing the energy density and reducing the charging time while,
Mm,
increases the battery life. Now there are more what you say. Uh, Research in how to make batteries, how to design batteries with which can be recyclable, which can be more circular economy compliant. Maybe
yeah,
the sticking glue or whatever which is used to make the battery pack. There are innovations in the materials that are being used. Even the design itself is also is being considered. I mean, design improvements are being considered so that the systems are actually more energy efficient and environmentally sustainable.
Yeah.
So these are especially for the energy storage systems, and for others, I mean, in terms of renewable energy, there's a lot of advanced materials, especially in the solar perovskite solar scales are there.
Mm-hmm.
No, even in the design side, they are improving the aerodynamic designs. In the construction sector, they are using a good design which requires less heat, and using energy efficient teams. So all these innovations in materials and designs are happening, for the development of more energy efficient products and solutions actually.
Exactly. So I'll be always like when I was discussing with some leaders. So the next word will be like re. So redesign, rethink, restructure.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, it's
So
everything is actually the design philosophy itself is changing more or less.
yeah,
So while designing itself, it has to be all this holistic thinking has to be taken place. To ensure that when you are making the battery itself, how quickly you can take it out, how
exactly.
easily you can break it away,
Dismantle
and
it.
how
Mm.
you can recycle and reuse. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
those
So
considerations are
any
important.
sustainability should start from concept stage. Basically,
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
the later stage definitely that is not something that can work for a longer run. So I think the conceptual stage itself, the sustainability should be embedded so that it will go in the long run in a greener way. Thanks for that, sir.
Correct.
So coming to the next question, what challenges do companies face when trying to scale up energy efficient technologies, and how they can overcome these obstacles?
So there are many challenges. First, the top management of the buyers itself should be convinced that energy efficiency, when they buy the product or service, is beneficial to them in the long term, is in their long term interest.
Mhm.
So many buyers, prospective buyers, have a short term view, and there's also a perceived risk in adopting these new technologies. So creating awareness through campaigns, trainings, case studies can really help. you know then there are higher initial costs involved in implementing these projects and technologies. Those also deter prospective buyers, because there is always capital availability constraints, right? So here the governments and financial institutions can offer subsidies, maybe low cost finance like green bonds could be deployed for such projects. And sometimes even the complex and varying regulations, and non-uniform standards across the region. Some countries specify this standard, some countries specify that standard, so can also hinder the scaling up of these technologies. So there should be a global collaboration, to standardize the in setting the standards, and also local initiatives to create conducive policies for the businesses. uh, Sometimes even the existing infrastructure of the prospective buyers may not support such new technologies, which is an impediment. And sometimes, the technology itself is not ready. It's in early stages of development. It cannot be scaled. It's not ready for the large scale deployment. So here, investing in research and development, collaboration between academia, government, industry,
Yeah.
it can help technology to reach TRL levels, higher TRL levels quickly. Uh, then there could be supply chain constraints that can slow the pace of scale up, especially if there is a disruption in critical supply chain. Then the production could be delayed. There could be cost increases as well. So here, developing local supply chain and diversifying the supply chain can mitigate these risks. And by addressing these challenges through innovative financing, policy support from the government, public-private partnerships, global collaboration, increase in awareness and
Right.
training can really help overcome all these
So,
obstacles. Yeah.
so you told about financing. So I have a question for that. So what's the, I mean, how can business balance short-term investment costs while long-term with long-term benefits? Because when sustainability comes, so there's a definitely the kind of investment required. So how can they balance that for the long term benefits?
Correct, correct. So a very clear communication right from the beginning, both for internal and external is very, very important to convince the stakeholders
Mhm.
the benefits of energy efficiency and efficient technology investments. And this should be done by emphasizing, all the factors like positive impacts such as cost savings. Then there
Mhm.
are environmental impacts, which we are positive environmental impacts through this investments. Then there is enhanced company reputation, then your brand value can be improved, and there's also positive effect of attracting environmentally conscious customers for you. So these are all things that should be used to convince the management. And
Mhm.
when you're starting on this journey, maybe focus should be on the low hanging fruits, quick wins. The companies must identify low cost improvements, or even behavioral changes such as turning off lights, fans, or equipment when they're not in use. And as the company progresses on this, a phased approach can be adopted by implementing energy efficient solutions in phases to better manage the cash flows, because cash flows are important.
Exactly.
And before going in for big projects, companies can really test this technology at a pilot stage, so the stakeholders are actually become more confident about the investments. A detailed cost benefit analysis must be done, to evaluate the total cost of ownership, including initial investment, operating costs, potential savings over time.
Yeah, yeah.
Return on investment should be calculated to convince stakeholders the benefits of such a solution. And uh, company should explore whether there are subsidies or grants available from government schemes to
Mhm.
finance such projects, and if there are some green financing options available. They should also consider third party funds like emerging energy performance contracts. uh,
Mhm.
and even the relatively small investment cost in training and education of employees
Yeah.
about energy efficient practices can lead to long term benefits. So all these measures will really help companies to balance their short-term investments with the long-term benefits in adoption of energy efficient and sustainable technologies.
Exactly. Rightly said, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful information. So, last but not the least, the question is for you is like for the young entrepreneurs. Okay, what is your message for young entrepreneurs who want to contribute for sustainable Bharat?
So, in terms of I can talk about the market trends. What is being followed. So, if they are aware about these market trends, they can follow these practices and try to become more sustainable. So, basically, it's a really rapidly evolving
Yeah, exactly.
space of sustainable energy efficient solutions. The technology is changing rapidly. Regulations are becoming more stringent. Even the consumer preferences are shifting towards more sustainable products. Uh, I mean, when I talk about some of the observed trends for the young entrepreneurs, which they should be aware of to become more sustainable, to build more sustainable businesses. So there is increased adoption of renewable energy to, of course, that's the no-brainer to decarbonize their business operations. Many companies are procuring green electrons to reach net zero targets. The businesses are also insisting
Mhm.
their suppliers as well to reduce the carbon intensity of their products, because in future again the scope 3 emissions could also be considered for better finance and better what you say funding. So businesses are also increasingly trying to electrify things, basically,
Mhm.
which could be run on renewable power. That includes the transport. As you're aware, there's EVs. A lot of penetration of EVs is happening.
Yeah.
Then there are innovations in the energy storage. So solar, wind, along with BESS to get a continuous, captive. Green electrons is also one of the areas they should look at. Uh, then green hydrogen is being
Yeah.
explored to decarbonize hard to abate sectors. It is also been explored in transport for public sector transport, long haul trucks, rail networks, and especially in the hard to abate sectors, this could be a really good energy vector. Now there are trends in some developments in carbon capture as well to make their business more sustainability compliant. Reaching net zero. Uh, on the financial side, the entrepreneurs should be aware that there is a steady growth in sustainable finance. So many financial institutions are now refusing to finance, dirty projects like coal power-based plants, and there is increased regulatory support as well as mandates to adopt greener technologies. So now it's becoming
Right, right.
a kind of a boardroom discussion nowadays. So it's an agenda of boardroom discussion and seriously being considered in all the business practices. When you're selling your products abroad or exporting, the buyer will ask you about how how sustainable is your business. So you should be ready. You should have your GHG, what you say, accounting in place. You should try to convince the buyer that I'm improving, I'm becoming more sustainable, and I'm also having the data of my even supply chain. So that again, there is one step further. So a lot of things, these new entrepreneurs should consider to ensure that their business is sustainable and is competitive and is more attractive for exports as well as the buyers outside. I'm
Exactly.
talking more on the export side. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, you rightly pointed out, sir. So any new businesses should aware of all these things. It could be government regulations and what is the target and stakeholders' expectations, especially on the finance side. So
correct.
what is that investors looking into it? So that gives a long-term business, stable business than considering.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
that
your
is fine.
business becomes more resilient, so to speak, climate resilient. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ketan, for all your information. It's wonderful, nice talking with you. A lot of information we gathered definitely from your end. So we like
No
to connect
problem.
you
No problem.
again, and I hope the viewers will be got to know many things about sustainable initiatives in India, government regulations, as well as the challenges basically. So what industry is facing. So that could be a triggering point for many startups to come up with the new ideas basically in the sustainability field. So as you pointed out also, like restructuring, re-engineering, redesigning, and
Correct.
considering sustainability from conceptual stage, and also increasing efficiency. It could be artificial intelligence or machine learning. So can help to increase the efficiency of existing process product. So that, if, for
Correct.
example, 1% increase in the efficiency of a solar panel can dramatically change the entire scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
thank you
Yeah.
very much, Ketan, for your all information. We'll connect you again.
No, no worries. I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to thank you for inviting me to this, tech talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.